I walked in there and it was like I went, the walls called out to me and said, there's a story here, stop, look around. And I was just absolutely taken and inspired by this little church. But of course I didn't want to use the name of the town, so Green Valley was born. It's the name I pulled out of the air. Now it has fans all over the world. Kate, we start with her in the manse. She's alone. Her father has been dismissed from his position because of a character failure. She's been in the manse since she was born. She's 19 years old. She's been there all that time. And they've said, just take your things, none of the books, none of the furniture, it's not yours, it belongs to the manse, off you go. Kate essentially is a good-hearted, compassionate girl, and she always has been. But when this hurt comes in her life, like a lot of people, even good people, hurt can do funny things to people, and hurt did funny things to her, and she became bitter, and her reactions were worked out of that bitterness, and it was a sorry thing. It caused a lot of trouble. Well, the carriage pulls up and she's there ready, she's blaming him already, and all of a sudden the carriage driver refers to the young man as Reverend Laslett, and she looks and she figures it can't be him, and all of a sudden she starts to fight with herself and think, you know, how could he be responsible for all of this? So anyway, John gets installed in the manse, and meanwhile she's installed in the shed. Nobody knows. She had nowhere else to go. So then she knocks on the door. I'm here to answer the position as housekeeper. And he goes, oh, that's very nice. But he doesn't realise, of course, he's not only inviting the former resident of the manse in, but he's also inviting a young woman who's very troubled, very hurt. And so she begins her position in the manse as the housekeeper. And he cannot understand why she's so cold and why she's so hard, because she really struggles with the whole concept of what's happened to her father, and she blames him for it, and he doesn't even know what's going on. So he takes upon himself the task to take her to Melbourne to find her father. And when they find him, he's in a poor house. He is completely reduced, completely destitute at this point. The only choice he can come up with is a marriage of convenience. So he and the father talk about it, and they decide that they will do it. And of course Kate is very much opposed to the idea, and they go back to the manse, but Kate is never open and still very hard, and it takes another series of events before she begins to soften, she begins to forgive, and the love that he feels she begins to feel. And it's not an easy resolve, but we get there eventually, and eventually, of course, she warms to him, she loves him, and they live happily ever after. I like to write a book where I build it, the emotional tension, and it doesn't quite bring a resolve, but it keeps the reader saying, I've got to get the resolve to this, and I keep provoking them and keep provoking them until till we get to a satisfactory conclusion in the end of the book. It's going to be the lady that walks into the bookshop who loves to read historical romance. I have 12-year-old readers and I have 95-year-old readers, and everybody in between, and they all love Green Valley books at the manse. So I have had a lot of male readers, and they come to me and they just say how fantastic it is. One male reader was an English teacher at school, and he bought 30 copies of the manse, distributed it to the students, and for 4 years in a row the students had to study the manse as an English text. In some ways the Green Valley series are like the books that, say, Janet Oakey would write, or Laurie Wick. In some ways, as far as pleasant Sunday afternoon read, it's not too intense, it's easy to read, but in other ways it's more deep. I tend to like to be a little bit more deep about issues, a little bit more in the style of, say, Francine Rivers. In other cases I've seen and read of Catherine Cookson''s books, and though hers are all set in the north of England and mine are very much Australian, I see just a similarity in just character types and things like that I've read with Catherine Cookson''s books. You just start thinking about characters and things just start to happen, and the wicked things that I think of for them the terrible trouble that happens for them. I feel sorry for them sometimes, but it's more fun that way.